Welcome to J. Michael G. Photography, fine art capture for prints. Today we're talking to artists about making prints from their art on canvas. My name is James Michael George, and I've been a product photographer for more than 25 years for my own company and other clients. A number of years ago, my daughter graduated from art school and began producing art that people wanted to purchase. One day she asked me if I could photograph her art so she could make prints. Naively, I said, sure. So all this is kind of her fault. I asked her if she had any thoughts, and she suggested taking the photos outside. So I said, oh, hang it on the house. This actually was not a bad idea. The light on a cloudy or overcast day is diffused and soft and worked well. However, having no control over the weather proved to be somewhat problematic, so we moved inside. With some new, more specialized gear, we made significant progress, and soon my daughter's artist friends were coming over for a capture. I built two studios in Mesa. The first was in my garage, but summer made that difficult. A client for whom I was doing product photography offered an office space in his industrial condo, and the fun began. Then we moved to Snowflake, and I built another studio, which of course begs the question, so you're here just to attract new customers? Yes, and over the years, I have accumulated a body of understanding that I find myself repeating to almost every young artist I meet. Even seasoned artists sometimes miss one or another of these principles. This presentation is an effort to save us both some session time. When you understand these issues, the work goes much faster. So what I present to you here are the things artists don't know about prints. This is why I'm here. We have three general areas of understanding to discuss, including why make prints, hidden print mysteries, and how we do it. So, why make prints? Why not simply produce originals, each of which sells for far more than a print? Anyway, don't prints devalue the original? Well, how? This is not like currency inflation because you have not recreated the original and presented it as the original. The original is still the original, maintaining its virtue. Artists don't sell prints as originals. That would be fraud. There is only one original. That's why it's called the original. A visitor might ask about the art on the wall. Is that the original? The discovery of the art's originality makes the experience all the more joyful. The existence of 1,000 sold prints is a tribute to the value of the original. The fact that so many prints have sold is a testimony to the joy the art brings. And no matter what you might say, the original is still the original. And if you want the original, you'll have to pay a price well above any of those 1,000 prints. A case could be made that prints actually add to the value of the original because the popularity of the prints brings more attention to the original. The original remains the one and only original. Anyway, isn't printmaking just commoditization? Isn't it personally degrading to value filthy lucre over my talent and art? But is that what we're doing? Now I'm going to mess with your heads a little by making two statements. Everything is about profit, and not all profit is about money. Huh? Why do people buy prints? Because they find joy in your art and they couldn't afford the original or missed the opportunity. Isn't bringing joy to people just as profitable as the money? Prints share your gift and your heart. Robert Jen probably said it best. Art is a form of love. Art is the ultimate gift. Art heals life. The fuel that powers your art is your selfless love for the work. Plain and simple. That love provides joy to those who purchase your art, original or print. I have a profound respect for your gifts and talents. Artists are, in my experience, generally very nice people, and their art is a parade of amazing. Prints share your gift. Now we head on to the hidden mysteries of printmaking. There are 6 of them. canvas size versus print size and aspect ratio, camera art alignment, backlit screens versus wall-hung art, image review, shiny stuff, and proofs. First, let's tackle canvas size versus print size and aspect ratio. Aspect ratio requires no math, so don't freak out. Aspect ratio is simply the relationship of the width and the height. Hold that thought. The canvas size versus print size issue, however, requires that we choose a print company. My favorite is White House Custom Color. I have no relationship with them other than as a customer. I have to stay independent, of course, but currently I use and recommend them and have for several years. Here's a list of the canvas print sizes they produce. The blue side lists the canvas sizes in order with their respective aspect ratios. The green side lists the aspect ratios in order with their respective canvas sizes. Well, why do we care? Well, let's say you see a sale on a 16 by 24 inch canvas. You like the balance between the width and the height. You look on the blue side of the chart and see that the 16 by 24 has a 2 by 3 aspect ratio. You wonder if they have a larger and or smaller size in that aspect ratio. So you look on the green side and find several. Take a list like this with you to the canvas store. And when you get your canvases back to your studio, even with 2 or 3 different aspect ratios among them, you'll know for certain that all of them are printable. It may actually surprise you to discover that print houses don't print every canvas size. Well, what if I have a 10 by 12 canvas? The nearest on the list is a 9 by 12. What do we do? Unfortunately, in most cases, we crop. Since the nearest printable size is a 9 by 12, an inch must come off the height. In this case, we'll take an inch off the top, or it could be half an inch each off the top and bottom, or any way you decide. We'll chat more later about aspect ratio, conversions, and other possible techniques, but crop, in most cases, we must. Now we move to camera art alignment. This is a technical issue that is my responsibility, but it will benefit you to know, especially if you attempt to photograph your own art. We accurately position a grid on the easel to aim the camera exactly in the vertical and horizontal center of the canvas, and in the 3 axes, up, down, facing left to right of center, or tilting left to right. Think of an airplane. It has pitch, yaw, and roll. Distortion occurs if the camera is off on any of those axes. We'll talk more about this in the How We Do It section. Now we head over to backlit screens and wall-hung art. This was a hard-earned lesson. We live in a world of light, and as artists, albeit in different media, light is the primary component of our world. When your art is captured, color-corrected, and displayed on a monitor, light emanates from the art and bombards our eyes with unnatural intensity. Colors appear brilliant and saturated, and we're dazzled by their strength. Oh, this is going to be great, we exclaim. So we have a print made, hang it on the wall, and stand back and review. Okay, the colors are correct. It's sharp and saturated. All the basics are there. It just doesn't look quite like the original. Not as brilliant or powerful. What gives? The answer comes back to light. While the light bombarding you from the monitor is brilliant and amazing, the light from the print is, wait for it, reflected and therefore weakened. The print on the wall is reflecting the ambient light in the room. Even a light directly on the canvas is reflected. Oops. Well, what can we do? We want our prints to be as brilliant as the original. The steps that make it all work are done in Photoshop. What? Are you going to make a cartoon out of my art? No worries. What we do in Photoshop simply enhances the reflective capabilities of the print. When placed side by side, we want the print to be as indistinguishable from the original as possible. Right from the start, this was a problem seemingly without an answer. It involved the physics of light, and we thought, you can't fight that or gravity. We were wrong on the first point. As I was playing around with one of my daughter's originals, I applied several Photoshop adjustments, and all of a sudden, the comment was made, "Oh, that pops." And a phrase was born, prints that pop. The next slide is an example of exactly what I'm talking about. Here are 3 examples of the kind of progression your art will see. The first is right out of the camera and ready for post-processing. Slightly underexposed, more about that later, and richly saturated. Then color correction is applied. We're essentially telling Photoshop what white is. This will naturally brighten the underexposed image a bit and match the colors with the original, as well as bringing out the highlights. After color correction, we'll apply one or more Photoshop adjustment layers. In this case, it only took an exposure adjustment layer, and all of a sudden, the print pops. And then, another perhaps more dramatic example of Photoshop magic. Again, the first is right out of the camera. Then after processing, yeah, that pops. When placed side by side with the original, other than texture, they look identical. Next, we'll look at reviewing the image. Now, you look at the image in your home or office computer, and oh no, the pop is gone. The colors are weird. What's wrong? Well, nothing. Your monitor is just not color critical and calibrated. If you desire to view your print images with correct color representation, a mid-range color critical monitor and calibrator is a good artistic investment and not prohibitively expensive. In the meantime, simply upload the image to your print company. The prints will be fine. Trust what you saw on my monitor. Now to the shiny stuff, Galkit, varnish, etc. We want to capture your art before you varnish. Galkit is fine with some moderation, but any final glossy work on your art should be done after we capture it. This is not necessarily a hard and fast rule, but we should chat about this if you have questions. Just be aware that the more reflective your art, the more difficult is the lighting situation, and extra costs may apply. Lastly, a firm admonition. Get proofs. As you gain experience with your print company and become more adept at printmaking, you'll gain confidence that your prints will pop. In the beginning, however, and anytime you're making large or expensive prints, getting proofs is wise. Now, a look into exactly how we do it. Again, we have 6 issues to discuss, including mounting your canvas on the easel, camera settings and gear, capturing the image, Photoshop pop, deliverables, and the always popular rates. First, we look at mounting your canvas on the easel with just enough pressure on the top and bottom shelves to keep the canvas positioned. We divide the canvas by 2 and level the bottom shelf by the ruler to the left. Then we horizontally center the canvas using the vertical midline. Perfect alignment. We adjust our color-accurate LED lighting and double diffusing panels, which provide extremely soft light that is gentle and does not cause glare. Next, we go to camera settings and gear. Here's a quick rundown of our basic gear. We have a Sony a7R III mirrorless 42-megapixel full-frame digital camera and a Sony FE24-70 f2.8 G Master 2 lens. This is the upgraded version of this lens. Absolutely superbly sharp, beautiful lens. We have a Giotto's carbon fiber tripod that we call the Beast because it's so solid, and a Benro 3-axis gear-driven tripod head, along with our custom LED lights, the easel we've discussed, and diffusion panels. This rounds out our basic gear. We are capable of capturing canvases beyond 6 feet on the longest side. You'll watch as I adjust the camera settings to perfectly capture your art. Most art benefits from a slight underexposure. This ensures we don't lose any highlights. Data in the shadows can easily be restored, but blown out white areas are gone forever. Camera computer USB tethering allows you to watch on the screen what the camera sees through the lens. Pretty cool, huh? Now, let's capture the image. Once the camera is set, a test capture is made of the canvas with a precise color panel for later color correction. We use a feature called pixel shifting, which automatically creates 4 separate images, 1 pixel row or column apart. In essence, pixel shift is a technique designed to maximize image fidelity by capturing more detailed color information, producing higher resolution and more accurate colors, especially useful in controlled, static environments, which is exactly what we have. Now, Photoshop Pop. If the canvas is not a printable size, as we previously discussed, together we'll decide on the best way to crop or process to the nearest printable size. It's your artistic sensibilities that I cannot reproduce. I have to get that from you, so together we'll shape the image until it pops. You'll see that the difference is very tender to the original. However, when you consider the light issue, making it pop makes perfect sense. The entire process only takes about 1/2 hour to 45 minutes. So we crop the 300 dot per inch production image to its final size and then open the test image with a color correction panel. Then we copy the image and paste it into the production image on a new layer. A curves adjustment layer and color panel combine to color correct the production image. The color panel layer is then hidden and the fun begins. You'll watch as I apply one or several Photoshop adjustment layers. These layers shape exposure, contrast, hue, saturation, and a host of other enhancements. We'll chat as I apply various adjustments, and you watch and judge the results of each one. Now, an additional option needs some attention. Gallery wraps are an interesting option and can be a very effective alternative to framing. A gallery wrap consists of a 2-inch thick canvas frame and the art wraps around the edges. Hanging on the wall, no frame needed. We copy a 2-inch strip from each side, flip them, and then reattach each strip to its appropriate side. This creates a very cool mirror effect as the art goes around the corners of the canvas. Now we arrive at deliverables. The base level deliverable is the color corrected and adjusted image in 3 versions. This does not include cropping a non-printable canvas size or other options, as we'll discuss. The first file is a full resolution TIFF file at 300 dots per inch. It is the largest file size and an absolutely accurate copy of the original Photoshop file, and is compatible with most any graphics software or print service. Next is a full-res JPEG, also at 300 dpi and smaller in file size, but is great for prints and is popular with print companies. Remember, large format printers print at around 200 dots per inch. We're at 300 dots per inch and full JPEG quality with this file. Then we have a WebRes JPEG. At 120 dots per inch is much lower resolution and much smaller file size than for prints. But at 120 dpi is at the top end of web graphics. Your web developer will love these. Our services and rates are fairly a la carte. You may not need anything but the basic package. However, if you need more, we've got you covered. The basic session package is $65. That includes the 3 files we discussed. Now, if you have a non-printable canvas, you have 2 choices. Equal crop to print size, for instance, an inch off the top or half an inch off each side, is $6. And an unequal crop to print size is $8. The 2-inch gallery wrap we discussed is $16 and adds an additional TIFF and full-res JPEG file. If you need additional print sizes for merch or other purposes, we also offer 2 choices. Same aspect ratio, 3 additional files, $8, and new aspect ratio, 3 additional files, $16. Any additional custom editing is per quote. And we also offer a multi-canvas discount. Please call for details. If this is your first session, we will provide a free USB flash drive for you to take your files with you. You'll want to bring along a flash drive for subsequent sessions. Many sessions will fit on one drive. Plug the drive into a USB slot in your computer, and there they are ready for viewing or upload to your print company. And that completes our presentation. Whew, we did it. Thank you for your attention. Hopefully, it was profitable in a good way. Now, let's go make some prints that pop.